I grew up in North Vancouver, British Columbia. I have one sister and my mom and dad, and it was just really nice growing up being that close to all of my family and just being able to even go to high school with my cousins and my sister and things like that. It was an amazing experience.
Family is a really important thing to us. So growing up, we would all hang out all the time, the four of us. We were like sisters. It wasn't like we were cousins. And that relationship was really cool because my dad and his brother are really close. So them having their kids be that close, I think was really awesome for them too.
Interesting topic about Angie and Alex is they are the two of the closest siblings I think there is. I mean, and it started from a young age, and it definitely started, Angie's the oldest. She just basically told Alex, I think as a little girl, I'm gonna love you unconditionally forever, no matter what. And she always has. She's been the best big sister that I think is even possible.
From the time we were as young as I can remember, we were best friends, just doing everything together. My parents put us both in the same sports. So growing up, we did everything that the other one did. So when I started soccer, she started soccer. When I started basketball, she started basketball. And so growing up and doing all those things together, we always had a practice partner. We always had someone to play with, and just like the biggest support system because we were always there for one another. And from as young as I can remember, she was the person that I wanted to hang out with the most. Like, she was the person that was always there whenever I needed someone. It was always my sister that I would turn to. So
Angie is very athletic, and she's always been really good at all the sports that she's played. So having that to look up to and to kind of have her as an example, playing a bunch of different sports as a female, and then I wanted to do that too, and I wanted to kind of follow and play the sports that she played. And then just in life, she's also a very, very sweet and caring person. So as having her as an older sister, always supporting me and being there for me was really awesome. We're best friends. We do everything together. We would travel to tournaments together and hang out, just have movie nights like we were just friends and not sisters. I think that is something that was really cool.
Growing up, we were always close. We never fought when we were younger. Like, my parents, I think that they were really happy to have kids that literally just got along and just wanted to hang out, wanted to be friends and play together. So that was, I think, a really great factor in my life, was having her and just like wanting to be friends with her and wanting her to be as close as we were.
I think anybody could attest to this. Everybody always says, how did you get your kids to get along so well? I said, it wasn't me. It's just that somehow this unconditional love that Angie threw out to Alex her whole life, Alex just got on board and it was mutual.
My family, we all play tennis. I started playing when I was 4 years old because my parents played, and that was just something that we all liked to do together.
I think I honestly started playing when I was 2 or 3 years old. Just as young as I was able to hold a racket and hit a balloon. My parents had a racket in my hand. So my sister and I, we both started when we were very young. We didn't start playing probably competitively in tournaments until we were about 7 and 8, which is still really young. My sister was 8 years old when she won the provincials. So we've been playing competitively and just had that in us since we were really young because of our parents.
They were big on tennis. They both played at Texas Tech, and they also wanted us to play a bunch of other sports too, just so that we had different options and different choices with what we wanted to do. But tennis was definitely the number one for everyone, I think.
Tennis was just always consistent. They always wanted to play tennis in university the way we did because we were always telling them how much fun we had. Like, being on a team is different than playing junior tennis growing up. It's junior tennis is fun, but college tennis is way more exciting to be with the team. And we wanted them to be able to have that experience too.
To do. They always gave us the choice. Like, if we didn't want to play anymore, we didn't have to. So with their guidance, I think we definitely knew like the path of college tennis was where we wanted to go, but it was always our choice, which was nice. My parents would always be there at every single game and every single match and things like that, and we would have them to like count on and look up to in the stands and see that they were there in that support system. So
my parents were always really, really supportive, looking over and just seeing my mom always smiling in the stands, watching and always supporting both of us was one of the best things. And my sister has always been my number one supporter. She's always wanted me to do well, and that's a really awesome thing to have.
My sister and I growing up, we always wanted to, like I said, follow in our parents' footsteps of like going to play college tennis. And so we went on lots of tournaments and things like that in the US to like kind of boost our ranking. And my sister and I would compete as doubles partners in those tournaments. So we would play together, and we would both play then singles, obviously. And we were just really supportive of one another. And my mom and dad were always there with us, traveling with us too. And there was a time when we traveled all the way to California, and my sister and I, we played the doubles tournament and we won it. And then we were both in our different divisions, age divisions for singles, and we both won that tournament in singles too. And it was just like, for me, it was one of my deciding factors for like going and playing college tennis, because that was like one of the biggest wins of my junior career. And just having my sister there right next to me, like playing doubles with me and supporting me in singles, and my mom there too, and my dad, like it was just an amazing moment. And leaving my home in Vancouver and coming to the US for college, it was a step that I was prepared for because it was something that I've been looking forward to my whole life. But still, leaving my mom and my dad and my sister was one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like, I was so upset to just like not have my sister just like right there anymore. It was just so different, but we definitely have stayed close being apart.
When we drove to Pocatello as a family to drop Angie off, her freshman year there, and one of probably the toughest thing I ever did in my life was driving away from her that day when she was standing there and waving bye to us, and of course, tears and everybody, it was very, very difficult. So, and that's probably when Alex realized that moment that she was on her own.
I was really sad that she was leaving, but when she left, our relationship, I think, stayed the same, maybe even brought us closer, because now when we're home, we get to spend all that quality time together.
It's nice that I've been able to stay so close with them while I've been away, and to have that support system, even from as far away as they are. They're always watching me whenever they can on live stream, and texting me and FaceTiming me whenever they can. So
memories, I think one of my favorites is probably even 2 years ago when I went and visited her in Idaho and kind of got to see what her life was like there, because I've always known a lot about what her life is like in Vancouver, because obviously I've been there through all of it. But when she moved to Idaho and started going to school there, she had a whole new experience, and it was cool to get to go see kind of her in her own environment there. Angie's the one that actually told me to contact Steve, who's my coach. She had met him and she said that he was a really great, nice guy, so she recommended that I contact him. And that's why I chose here.
I actually asked for my opinion, which really made me happy. She was like, where do you think is a good place for me to go? And of course, I wanted her to come to Idaho State. That's where I wanted her to be for sure. But we didn't have any scholarship openings on our team. We were all the same age at the time. So when she was coming in, she wouldn't have been able to be here because there was no spot on the team. So she looked into the conference because she knew that that's where I was and where we could be close together and stuff. And Montana was the best fit for her, where she could go. So only being 4.5 hours away, I've been able to go see her and things like that, and it's been awesome. But competing against her team, before it was easy, playing Montana, you just wanted to beat them. But now with my sister on the team, it's definitely a different aspect. We had never actually competed against each other growing up. We would always practice together, but we never wanted to compete against each other. We just weren't competitive with each other, I guess, that way. We always wanted each other to succeed. And so seeing her on the Montana team, I definitely want her to succeed, but I definitely want to beat Montana. So it's like a lot of emotions, I guess, with her being there. But it's nice knowing that she's there and she's so close and that she's doing so well. So.
Because tennis meant so much to them, it's something that they chose not to compete against each other in. Now, if Angie's playing Monopoly against Alex, she will go to the end of the earth to beat her. She can have $5 left and everything mortgaged, and she's still trying to beat Alex. But when it comes to tennis, it was just something that they decided that it meant so much to the other person that they would go out, but they wouldn't want to win. And so that's just the philosophy and the feelings that they had with each other. And so there were 2 times that in junior tennis that they came across each other at the finals of one tournament and another team event. And both times it just was something that on the team event, the coaches ended up changing them from positions 1 to one team was 1 and 1 was 2 because they just started crying and didn't want to play each other because they wanted the other person to win. And the other was the tournament in Kelowna when they both made the finals, and I let them handle it. And when they came off the court, I knew something was strange because the match didn't seem like a tennis match. They were laughing on every changeover and just playing. I said, you guys figured out who was going to win before you walked on the court. Did you flip a coin? And that's basically, they had decided they wanted the other person to win and they couldn't be competitive against each other in tennis. So they had their own outcome.
Playing against her team is kind of horrible, to be honest, in the beginning. We aren't competitive with each other at all. We never played each other growing up in matches. That was just something we didn't want to do. So our teams playing against each other, we personally have never had to play, but even just playing my match and looking over and getting distracted, watching her, hoping that she's doing well, but then also being like cheering for my own team. It's hard for sure.
Our coaches are really good about not putting us against each other head to head. We have had to play, but we've been at different spots in the lineup. And so with the way tennis works, it's lucky that I guess we don't have to play head to head, which some people would really love that opportunity to get to play their sibling. But her and I, we both are happy not having to do that. So
I think pretty much means everything. It's rare when you get a relationship that is that close, and no jealousy, no competitive, no this and that, always wanting the other one to do as best they can be. Their biggest fans, supporting each other. It means everything to us. It means that somehow we ended up doing a great job as being parents because they turned out exactly like we would want them to. They're good people, and especially to each other, and I think their whole life they will be close.
I admire a lot of things about her. She's really kind, she is compassionate and caring, and she works really hard in everything she does. She always gives it her best effort. She's very dedicated. I could go on and on about admirable things about my sister, honestly.
My sister is one of the most caring people that I know. She is the best listener. She is the person that I go to with any problems that I have. She has the best advice, and she's just so compassionate about life, about her friends, about her family. I think that my sister is honestly one of the greatest people that I know, and I'm so lucky that she's my sister. And even though she's the younger sister, she, like I said, she truly is the person that I'll go to for advice when I need it. She just is always there for me. Whenever I give her a call, she's always answers, always picks up, gives me all the time that I need to talk to her. And she knows that it's the same. If she ever needs me, I'm there for her too. We're just lucky that we have that relationship. Being the older sister, I think that I've just come to care for her so much. Like, I just want the best for her all the time, and I want her to succeed, and I want to see that she's okay and she's protected and things like that. And I think that's just the older sister in me.
I think your sister should always be your best friend. It's a really important relationship to have, and I'm clearly so grateful for it.